Now, it sounds an awful lot like how I feel about the current Attorney General. Here with analysis of this hopeless hypocrisy, the author of the #1 New York Times bestseller, Culture of Corruption, Malkin. Fox News political analyst Juan Williams is with us. All right, Juan, so they're calling for a special prosecutor in the case of Valerie Plame. Why? Because, quote, they may have outed a CIA covert operative in which he was not a covert operative, and they knew from the very beginning who the leaker was, which was Richard Armitage. What's worse? Is it the outing of Plame, who was not a covert operative, or divulging the secrets of our military operations, the president putting out kill lists and joint operations with the Israelis in terms of cyber attacks that they're using against Iran's nuclear facility? What's worse in your mind?
Well, first of all, you're just totally wrong about that Valerie Plame situation. Patrick
She was not
Fitzgerald,
a covert operative. She was not.
Let me just tell you something. I don't know where you get your information from, but I can tell you that Patrick Fitzgerald, who investigated it, concluded in his final report that her identity was, in fact, covert. So, I mean, that's a fact. That's
not
in the report.
That is
you
not
can
a
check
fact.
it out. Check it out, please.
But wait a minute. But we're talking about national security secrets. You tell me, you explain to this audience why an Obama donor who worked for Eric Holder, was appointed by Eric Holder, why he should get that position. Tell me you don't agree with this conflict of interest.
There is no conflict of interest.
No?
You know, the fact is Ron Machin is a excellent prosecutor, and he's been prosecuting Democrats.
He's an Obama donor.
There is no law that says that prosecutors, lawyers, anybody in the country can't give money.
Why don't we just appoint Michelle Obama then? She, you know, what do we?
Oh, come on, please. Look, my point to you is he's a Democrat, and I hear you loud and clear, Sean. But you should also say
he's a Democrat.
That
he's a donor with close ties to Eric Holder.
All right, I heard you, but listen to me for a second. That he's also in this investigation is Rod Rosenstein, who is a Republican, from Baltimore.
Okay. So
they're doing it together.
Stack the deck 50. All right, Michelle, explain to me how an Obama donor should be in charge, and compare it to the Valerie Plame case.
Well, only in Obama world do people like Juan Williams not see the gobsmackingly naked and clear conflict of interest. Ronald Machin was not merely someone who had given thousands of dollars to Barack Obama. He owes his career, his very first job as a federal prosecutor, to whom? Eric Holder. And this is just a long line and a pattern of Eric Holder serving as a political fixer for whatever commander-in-chief he's working for, whether it's corruptocrat Barack Obama or corruptocrat Bill Clinton. And so many people, so many victims of his politicization of the rule of law warned that this is exactly what was going to happen, that Eric Holder would stand as the runner, the interference monger who would put politics and partisan interests above the national interest. And I find it completely shameful that the likes of all of these Senate Democrats and Juan Williams can sit there ham-hawing and trying to rationalize their double standards between this and the Plame case.
Let me bring up another point here.
Of course he wants to relitigate the Plame case. He doesn't want to deal with what's on the table
but this is
now.
Deeper, because if they are describing, first of all, this goes right to the Oval Office, because they're describing David Sanger, New York Times, they're describing the president every Tuesday deciding who's going to be on his kill list. Now, this coming from a president who doesn't want to inflame the passions of America's enemies and didn't even have the willingness to show bin Laden's dead body for that stated reason, but he's going to let the world know that he's out to kill this person, this person, and this person because he wants to seem tough.
But Sean,
even worse than that.
What are you talking, Sean? What are you talking about? That's just reporting. I mean, that's something that you can get from sources.
With White House
There's
sources,
nothing classified in there, Sean. There's nothing classified that would put somebody's life at risk, like divulging the name of Valerie Plame as a covert agent.
Well, wait a minute. If you're, this is important here, because if you are, what foreign government, Israel in this case, would want to work, Michelle, with the United States of America if top secret cyber war covert operations are going on, and what person would want to be recruited to be a spy, knowing that their lives are in jeopardy? Because if the White House deems it that they got to prop up the president, they're going to do it.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe Juan Williams could stick to the year 2012 for a second. David Sanger, who's the New York Times reporter who reported this story, said that the Obama administration explicitly did not stop him from running this story. It was clearly a strategic leak to aggrandize Obama at a time when he's been under fire from both the right, the left, the center. It's been a very bad week and very bad month for Barack Obama. And these articles came out to fluff his feathers and make him look good at the expense of national security. And all you can do, Juan, is say blame, 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 and blame, 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 Bush, Bush, Bush.
Wow, listen, I tell you what, Michelle, I'm a real reporter. I'm not a blogger out in the blogosphere somewhere. I'm going to tell you something. The reporters go to officials in this town in a free society. Hang on, please. In a free society,
right? Because I'm not a real
free
reporter,
press,
and you are.
And reporters go and talk to officials, and that's not classified. In a free society, we want to know what the government's doing. We want to make decisions. Now, with regard to this stuff that Sean is talking about, when you look at, for example, at the cyber warfare effort, that's a constantly evolving thing. It's not been the case that nobody knows about it. Everybody has talked about it.
They gave us specific details.
They did not give them any classified information about it, Sean. They simply discussed the fact that there is such an effort.
They talked about a secret program to undermine Iran's nuclear program using cyber weapons. That's what was discussed.
Sean, this has been widely discussed and reported and in papers. What David Sanger did, and I think David did a great job, was to go to public officials, people who represent the American people, and say, what can you tell me?
When you have people's lives in jeopardy, Juan, and I'll give Michelle the last word, we'll never get anybody to work with us because their lives will be put in jeopardy if it means propping up this president, or in the words of Michelle, you know, fluffing his feathers.
That's right. If I can just say something, the American people are sick of the kind of snotty condescension from liberal elite journalists like Juan Williams, who tell us that the rest of us are not doing our jobs, when the point is that on February 2nd, 2009, when Eric Holder was shamefully approved and nominated and approved to be Attorney General, he had already had a long record of bastardizing national security and the rule of law. Exactly, and people like Joseph Connor, whose father was murdered by an FALN terrorist, said at a time, and I quote, before this nomination, warning Republicans that Eric Holder did not have the judgment, values, or character to hold that office.
Michelle,
and we've been proven right, even though we are non-professional journalists.
Michelle, you are way off topic.
That is the central point.
And you're not talking about what we're debating here tonight on Sean's show. But, I mean, if you look at Bush at War done by Bob Woodward, there's lots of information in there.
I will tell you this, Juan, you're going to have to accept reality. Holder is finished. He will go.
Guys are just
and he deserves to go. He is incompetent.
It has nothing to do with classified information. It has to do with you beating up Holder.
Holder is gone before Election Day. Mark my words.
Oh, yeah, that's what your wish is, but I don't know that there's any basis for it.
I'll take that back.
So real journalists are apologists for corruptocracy.
All right, we got it.
Guys,
thank you.
Thanks, Juan.
And coming up
You're
next,
welcome.
this.